You know that feeling. You open Netflix, scroll for 5 minutes, and then end up watching the same show you've already seen. Again, same characters, same scenes, same ending. And instead of feeling bored, you feel calmer. If that's you, this isn't a bad habit. It's not laziness. And it's definitely not a lack of imagination. It's psychology. Today we're talking about why some people rewatch the same shows and movies over and over, and what that says about how their brain works. Because rewatching isn't about entertainment. It's about regulation. Your brain is constantly scanning for uncertainty. New shows come with risk. You don't know the characters. You don't know the tone. You don't know if the ending will frustrate you. That uncertainty costs energy. When you rewatch something familiar, your brain already knows the outcome. No surprises. No emotional ambushes. No cognitive load. The nervous system relaxes. Psychologists call this predictive safety. Your brain prefers environments where it can accurately predict what will happen next. That's why familiar stories feel soothing, especially during stress. But not everyone rewatches for the same reason. Researchers often describe 4 psychological rewatching patterns. You probably recognize yourself in at least one. These people rewatch shows during periods of anxiety, burnout, or emotional overload. For them, familiar stories act like emotional noise-canceling headphones. The brain already knows what's coming, so it can stop scanning for danger. Heart rate drops, muscles loosen, thoughts slow down. This isn't escapism, it's self-soothing. These viewers don't just watch shows, they analyze them. They notice dialogue, subtext, character arcs, tiny details they missed before. Each rewatch reveals something new. For these people, repetition isn't boring, it's depth. Their brain enjoys layering meaning. They're not consuming content, they're studying it. Some people rewatch shows because those stories are tied to who they are. A show reminds them of a certain time in life, a version of themselves, a feeling of belonging. The characters feel familiar in a personal way. Rewatching becomes a way of reconnecting with identity, not nostalgia, continuity. This one is harder to admit. Some people rewatch because new stories feel risky. New content can disappoint, trigger, overwhelm. If you already know the ending, you can't be hurt by it. For these viewers, repetition feels safer than vulnerability. Not because they don't want emotion, but because they feel it very deeply. Here's something important. Rewatching doesn't mean you dislike novelty. It means your brain values emotional efficiency. Why invest energy into uncertainty when you already know what works? Especially in a world that's constantly demanding attention, reaction, and emotional output. Neuroscience backs this up. Familiar stimuli require less dopamine and less cognitive effort. That's why rewatching often happens at night, or during stress, or when life feels unpredictable. Your brain isn't checking out, it's recalibrating. There's also a control element. When you rewatch something, you choose the emotion. You know when the joke lands. You know when the tension resolves. You know nothing bad is hiding around the corner. In a chaotic world, that control matters. So what does this say about you? If you rewatch shows, you're probably someone who processes emotions deeply, values predictability over stimulation, prefers comfort over novelty during stress, and uses media intentionally, not mindlessly. You're not stuck. You're selective. Of course, balance matters. If rewatching completely replaces curiosity or growth, that's worth noticing. But most of the time, rewatching isn't avoidance, it's maintenance. So the next time someone asks, "How can you watch the same thing again?" you can answer honestly, because your brain isn't looking for surprise. It's looking for safety. And sometimes, Familiar stories are exactly what keep us regulated enough to face the real world. If this felt accurate, the next video dives into another behavior people misunderstand and why your brain might be using it for the same reason. Click it, only if you feel like it,